Hello friends! You're on the Last Days channel. Thank you so much for your engagement and support. And so, a review of events for July 29th. Brazil. Hundreds of cars float down the streets like boats in a flood. At least 6 people have died in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, as a result of heavy downpours. It is being clarified that another 5 people are currently missing. The search and rescue operation in the area of the emergency continues. Officials say the storms hit much of the Atlantic coast of the southeastern state and caused numerous landslides, including one in a colonial tourist town. Rio de Janeiro state was hardest hit by 2 days of torrential rains that turned several towns into rivers, sweeping away cars in their path and causing landslides, especially in poor hillside communities.
Pensei em ir embora aqui, cara.
Deus do céu, meu Deus! Meu Deus! Misericórdia, Senhor!
United States. There is an extreme heat wave in the United States. Especially suffers the northeast of the country. In Philadelphia, declared an emergency situation. People are fleeing the scorching heat near trees and fountains. The authorities have announced the opening of climate shelters in schools, libraries, and other institutions. Such shelters are also in operation in New York. Medical professionals warn of the health risks that a heat wave can bring. Animals are also suffering and trying to stay close to the water. In Chicago, dogs are splashing in a lake. And in New England, they're preparing for the twin threats of heat and flooding. Issyk-Kul. 3 boys aged 7 to 12 years old were resting with their parents on an inflatable mattress on Lake Issyk-Kul, in the village of Choctaw. But suddenly a strong wind picked up and the waves began to blow the mattress away with the current. Local police officers noticed the children at depth and came to them by boat to bring them back to shore. The guards asked parents to pay more attention to their children to avoid similar incidents in the future. In this case, no one was injured, the boys were only frightened. Crimea. On July 27th, closer to the evening, Crimea was covered by an active frontal wave. The zone of heavy precipitation and thunderstorms covered most of the territory. Perhaps these rains can be considered the heaviest rains of this summer. Last night, 42 millimeters of precipitation fell, in some places up to 53 millimeters. Very heavy rain in the coastal area was marked by hail with a diameter of 5 millimeters. Wind gusts reached 24 meters per second, in Alushta 28 meters per second. All night the communal workers liquidated the consequences of bad weather. Dozens of trees fell down, storm sewers are clogged with leaves and branches. Because of this, water stagnated in the streets, obstructed the passage and flooded houses. In several areas of the city for a while lost light, stopped the work of marine transport. Rain is predicted and today in the Crimea. A storm warning remains in effect. During today's day, the atmospheric front of the cyclone shifted to the east, carrying bad weather to other southern regions of European Russia. At the weekend, Crimea will be under the influence of the area of increased atmospheric pressure. The weather will be good, no significant precipitation is expected. Italy. At least 3 people have died as a result of forest fires that broke out amid a heat wave on the southern Italian island of Sicily. The bodies of a couple in their 70s were found in their burned-out house on the outskirts of the capital Palermo. Another victim in Palermo province was an 80-year-old woman who died because an ambulance failed to reach her home due to wildfires. Italian firefighters said they had put out about 1,400 fires this week, including 650 in Sicily and 390 in Calabria. Fires were still raging in the hills around Palermo on Wednesday, and firefighting planes were deployed to try to put out the blazes. While the south of the country is battling wildfires, the north is experiencing severe storms that killed 2 people on Tuesday, including a 16-year-old Girl Scout who was crushed by a falling tree. Volgograd region. In the Srednitubinsk district of the region, local residents are suffering from an insect infestation. Houses are covered with a thick layer of flies. Hordes of flies appeared in the farm Zaire. Local residents filmed the attack of insects on video. On the frames of the video, black flies fly in swarms near residential houses, cling to the walls, outbuildings, inconvenience people and animals. Dogs do not even run in the yard, they prefer to hide in a box, because the flies have overcome. Houses are covered with just a layer of buzzing insects, and in the barn just cannot enter, there are a whole horde of them. It doesn't help. People are planning to move. Because of this incident, the flies are evicting us, they say. Residents of the farm blame the nearby poultry farm for the insect infestation. They fear that the dangerous neighborhood will lead to the spread of various diseases and may threaten serious environmental problems. Volcano Etna. Europe's most active volcano, Etna. Every day it releases dozens of vortex rings from a single vent located in one of its most active craters. Vortex rings are formed from a mixture of smoke, steam and other gases ejected from volcanic vents. At high velocity, they can remain in the air for several minutes, after which they disappear. Such gas rings are formed by the explosion of gas bubbles in a narrow channel above a magma chamber, which ejects the gas at high velocity toward the surface. The Etna volcano forms more vortex rings than any other volcano in the world. The Sicilian volcano ejects gaseous loops in most years, but the number of rings varies each year. In 2000, the volcano released about 5,000 rings, the highest number ever recorded. And the current figure is similar to that period. Cherkessk. A terrible accident happened in Cherkessk. One person was killed due to the downpour and squally wind. The storm raged for only 10 minutes, but it was enough to tear out trees, tear off the roofs of advertising structures, and topple fences. Dozens of cars were damaged, and heavy trunks crushed several cars with people. Fortunately, only one person died, but another needed the help of rescuers. Sochi is preparing for the hurricane and has already closed beaches on the coast, hanging red and black flags. The airport is working on the actual weather, and more than 10 flights have already had to be sent to alternate airfields. By nightfall, showers with thunderstorms, strong winds up to 25 meters per second and hail are expected. The level of rivers may rise to dangerous levels, so in the mountains have already closed cable cars until the weather conditions improve. We hope that people will be careful and will not put themselves in danger because of bad weather. Be careful and don't forget to follow the weather news. Indonesia. Indonesia is home to the Anak Krakatau volcano, which is actively erupting, throwing out huge towers of ash. The volcano gets its name from the fact that it is the child of the Krakatau volcano, which erupted 4 times. In 2018, there was a violent eruption that raised a column of smoke and ash 2,500 meters above the crater. The crater of the volcano was partially destroyed by this eruption. However, the biggest incident associated with the Anak Krakatau volcano was the major eruption of Krakatoa volcano in 1883. Huge chunks of the volcano rolled into the ocean, causing a tsunami that killed more than 400 people and injured thousands more. Indonesia is an archipelago in Southeast Asia located on the Pacific Ring of Fire, where the meeting of continental plates causes high volcanic and seismic activity. There are about 130 active volcanoes in the country. China. Typhoon Doksuri has reached the southeastern coast of China, covering several provinces. More than 250,000 household plots were affected, and some provinces were left without electricity. Flights have been cancelled and rail transportation has been suspended. China has increased its preparedness for the typhoon, evacuating more than 400,000 people to safety. Hundreds of ships returned to ports and traffic was suspended. Wind speeds were approaching 175 kilometers per hour when it made landfall, but the storm's interaction with land likely reduced wind speeds slightly. Earlier, the typhoon swept through the northern Philippine provinces, where 26 people died because of it, and about 30,000 Filipinos had to be evacuated. Indonesia. Severe floods have hit Lampung province in Indonesia, causing widespread destruction and displacing thousands of residents. The catastrophe caused by heavy rains has inundated residential areas and vital infrastructure, leading to a serious humanitarian crisis. Local authorities, together with national disaster response teams, are working tirelessly to assist those affected as rescue and evacuation operations are underway. Philippines. A tragedy occurred in the Philippines. A boat with people on board capsized. According to preliminary data, as a result of strong winds in the area of Laguna Lake to the southeast of Manila, at least 21 people were killed, 40 more passengers were rescued. Police have no exact information on the number of people on board the boat, which capsized in Rizal province. Rescue operations are ongoing. The panic-stricken passengers moved to one side when it was buffeted by strong winds, causing the vessel to capsize. The accident occurred near Calanovan village in Bananganan town. According to the Coast Guard, the passenger vessel capsized due to strong winds. Corsica. A natural fire broke out in Upper Corsica, a department in the north of the island of the same name. The flames destroyed dozens of hectares of pine forest near the village of Morizaglia. Thanks to the organized work of firefighters, the fire was extinguished, but this fire was followed by another one. In the municipality of Penta de Cozinca, dozens of small fires were also reported across the island. The exact cause of the fires has not been determined, but meteorologists attribute the wildfires to a lack of rainfall and high temperatures. By the end of this week, Corsica will see long-awaited rains, which, however, will be accompanied by strong winds with gusts of up to 18 meters per second. Milan, Italy. Milan recently experienced a storm and hailstorm that brought with it a lot of damage. Roofs were damaged, trees fell, the power grid failed, and wind speeds in the city exceeded 100 kilometers per hour. Weather conditions split Italy in two, with a wave of bad weather continuing in the north and record temperatures in the south. At 4 p.m. on July 28, a new severe storm began with high winds and hail. The fire department received hundreds of reports of inconvenience, including flooding and uncovered roofs. Numerous trees were uprooted throughout the city, causing streetcars and trolley buses to be stranded. The frequency of events such as hurricanes has doubled in the past 20 years, and Italy has recorded twice as many extreme events this year as last. Greece. Greece continues to suffer from an abnormal heat wave. In the city of Ythian, temperatures have reached 47 degrees. Although the national record of 48 degrees was not broken, this is little consolation. A red highest danger level has been declared in many regions as wildfires intensify due to high winds. According to the World Wildlife Fund, 45,000 hectares of forest have already burned in Greece over the past week. The situation resembles a catastrophe of biblical proportions. Everything around has burned out. Scientists note that the current heat wave in many countries of Europe and North Africa is a direct consequence of climate change.